What's up, noobs? I'm Lazokeel, and welcome to a tutorial on how to play Taliyah. So, the Earthweaver is an interesting champion, and I figured out what seemed to be the best strategies and so forth, and saw a lot of people use the very much incorrect strategies, and I figured I'd make this guide on basically everything Taliyah, anything that you would need to know, want to know, etc. If you do have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you are one of those people that has to have that infinity 0-0 kill-death ratio, or you can't stand to play a little safe on occasion in your lane, this champion is probably not for you. However, if you want to be able to master her very unique and very influential kit, go ahead and keep watching, and I'll do my best to show you how to play Taliyah. So for runes and masteries, I take Magic Penetration Marks, Armor Seals, 6 Ability Power Glyphs, and 3 Magic Resist Glyphs, and Ability Power Quintessences. For the masteries, I take a 12 and 18 setup, prioritizing Magic Penetration and Sustain. So, what I went ahead and did was I took Secret Stash, and I took the Mana Regeneration in the Cunning Tree. I also took the Thunderlord's Keystone. In the Ferocity Tree, I take Feast, and I also take Oppressor. You can swap these around depending on your specific playstyle, but this is what I find to be the most sustaining, effective in top and middle lane setup. If you're going support, I suggest changing Feast to Expose Weakness. If you want to be slightly more aggressive, you can go ahead and change Feast to Double-Edged Sword, but doing so will make your early game a little bit harder and takes a little bit of getting used to. Taliyah's Q is Threaded Volley. It fires 5 rocks in a line that you choose from her body. On impact, they deal AoE damage, meaning that you can deal damage to anyone sitting just behind their minions, rather than their minions acting as a perfect shield. Something you should realize is that you're going to be strafing with this ability, and being able to quickly move left and right based off of the direction of where you are throwing your rocks is going to be really, really important to be able to get maximum damage out on your opponents. When you cast Threaded Volley, you also are placing an area of worked ground on the map. Use this to your advantage by putting it to the side of the lane while you're just poking and farming minions. So this way, when someone comes to gank or a skirmish goes awry, you have a very quick way to get a boost of movement speed to run away and disengage from your opponent. This will also allow you to keep the rest of the lane open so that you can go ahead and use the center of the lane to spawn a 5-rock volley so that you can massively damage your opponent. Also, while standing in work ground, you can more efficiently farm minions and poke the enemy champion because it only fires 1 rock for half the mana. Taliyah's E is Unraveled Earth. It casts a short-range AoE of rocks on the ground that anyone who dashes through them, being an enemy, will proc an explosion that will deal damage to them per rock that they pass through. This works against Lee Sin's Q, this works against Amumu's Q. Anything that is a pull or a push through that area of effect will take damage from her E. It also does damage when you cast it and a few seconds after when it despawns. You can use this to preemptively defend your allies or get damage on people that are trying to engage, such as an Amumu who engages with his Q. This is also a good way to get a standard amount of damage out with Taliyah by using your E and your W, which we have not discussed yet, to push them through it and cause them to take extra damage. Taliyah's W, Seismic Shove, is the most important ability on her kit. It spawns a small circle in which you can cast a direction for it to push anyone a short distance, and this will allow you to push them over walls, towards you or away from you in literally any direction. It's the most impactful thing in her kit. However, it is definitely the hardest thing to get used to, as the timing of it is very, very hard to calculate and get used to when you're first starting out playing Taliyah. Mastering Seismic Shove will take your ability to play Taliyah from a B rank to an S rank in a matter of games. Utilizing this skill will allow you to maximize your damage with Taliyah and maximize your ability to keep you and your allies safe or be able to continue to engage champions that are trying to flee from the onslaught that is Taliyah. The way I secured this kill on Garen is a result of two things. First, I used the ultimate to cut his escape route to his turret off, and then I used my W to make it so that he cannot safely enter the brush, forcing him to engage me. This results in him eating both my Q and my E, which ends up killing him. No matter what he could have done in this situation, he was doomed to die. There was no way that he could have done anything but eat those abilities. Yes, I lost a little bit of damage off of the W, but if he were to continue to run into the brush, he would have been launched into my minions, and I secured all options. I cut off every way that he could have gone, because there was a wall, there was me, and there was my W in the brush. He was pinned in, and I gave him only one option, and that is exactly how you use Taliyah. You give the enemy one option, and you give them the option that they least want, and the one you want them to take. The goal when building Taliyah is to build sustain and durability and damage all at the same time. To do this, you want to focus on purchasing things like Rod of Ages and Rylai's Crystal Scepter and Sorcerer's Shoes first. You want to focus on your ability to skirmish and outlast any opponent that you might be up against. Rod of Ages you want to buy first because that'll give you plenty of time to let its passive do its magic. And then you want to get your Sorcerer's Shoes after that to keep your mobility up, and then go for a Rylai's, and then you want to go for Liandry's Torment. These are the 4 core items that I suggest you always have when playing Taliyah. The other 2 items that you should have, generally speaking, are optional. There's lots of situational items that are useful for her, such as Void Staff, Rabadon's Death Cab, Luden's Echo, Zhonya's Hourglass, Abyssal Scepter, and Morellonomicon. I personally prefer to play with Zhonya's Hourglass and Abyssal Scepter. Abyssal Scepter tends to be the most useful when you're up against AP mages, and Zhonya's I take for its passive and for the armor if I'm against an AD heavy team. However, when you are significantly ahead, buying Rabadons or Ludens will significantly help your ability to snowball against the enemy team and maintain an advantage. These 2 items, though, are, however, totally and fully up to you. There's no significant change, and you can change them whenever you want, but the other 4 items are absolutely necessary to be an effective Taliyah. That's it for the Taliyah guide. These are all the tips and tricks that I know what to do with, and anyway, if you want to see more of this or have any suggestions of who you would like to see a tutorial for next, go ahead and leave a comment below. And if you thought you learned something or enjoyed this video, please like or subscribe, and have a good one, guys.